Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 6.
State police arrest 2 people for child abuse after they say they went too far punishing a girl for wetting the bed.
With about 2 weeks to go until Election Day, a newly released Bluegrass poll shows us where the U.S. Senate race stands.
And WKYT investigates why heroin isn't just a big city problem anymore. WKYT News at 6 starts now. Some disturbing accusations tonight against a Madison County couple. Police say they forced a young girl to sit in a chair for hours after she wet the bed.
Police charged Linda Richmond and Julio Valadares with child abuse. The girl is his daughter. Neighbors told us they can't believe what police say happened. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy has our top story at 6.
Some parents struggle with young children that wet the bed. State police say Julio Valadares is one of those parents. They believe he took his attempts to stop his daughter from doing so too far. In an arrest citation, police say Valadares and the woman living with him, Linda Richmond, forced the girl to sit in a chair for several hours a day and limited her food intake because of recent accidental bedwetting.
And that's what I don't understand, because I'm going to tell you something. All children will bed wet. That ain't no way. I mean, it's all you got to do is set your alarm clock, get up during the night, get the child up, take it to the bathroom. And I mean, if it does wet the bed, whoopee, it's an accident.
Neighbors tell us the couple's lived here for about a year. They've never had any problems, never suspected anything happening.
God forgive me, but I would have never in a million years thought that Linda, never.
He'd speak sometimes he wouldn't, you know. He was a loner, he stayed by himself, you know, but her, she was out going all the time.
Both Valadares and Richmond are charged with criminal abuse. Police arrested them after social services contacted them when someone took the child to the hospital with medical issues. In Madison County, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Both will answer to their charges in court next Monday.
3 days later and still no sign of him. Tonight, police are trying to track down a suspect wanted for assault who they say escaped house arrest. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says 47-year-old Terry Mullins hasn't been seen since Friday. Last month, investigators say he hit a 17-year-old with his van but didn't stop. The teenager suffered serious injuries. WKYT's Phil Pendleton is tracking the investigation.
Terry Wayne Mullins was arrested at his house on the night of September 5th after police say that he ran home after hitting a kid on a bike and didn't stop. Oddly enough, police say after being on house arrest there, he ran off from there as well. And now police say that he could be as far away as the state of Ohio.
We think that maybe he had an acquaintance or somebody to pick him up from that location because he was nowhere in that area.
Police say Mullins' ankle bracelet was found Saturday in downtown Corbin, the day after he cut it off and escaped his house arrest. Mullins is wanting for driving drunk and hitting a bike ridden by 17-year-old R.J. Warren and not stopping to help the young victim.
You know, he's definitely not armed and dangerous, but certainly he is dangerous if he consumed alcoholic beverages when he left that location.
Mullins faced alcohol-related charges in Ohio and Kentucky before. He pleaded guilty to DUIs in 2003 and 2006, and twice in 2008 he was charged with assault. Relatives told us that R.J. Warren suffered a fractured skull, broken hip, and back. He was at UK hospital for weeks.
We understand that he's doing a whole lot better, that he has come home, and that he is in a lot better shape than he was.
Mullins is described as being 5'9", about 150 pounds, with long brown hair. They also say that he has a metal prosthesis left leg. They say that he could be under the influence of alcohol. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
When police arrested Mullins back on September 5th, they told us he was one of the most intoxicated people they had ever arrested.
Now to the battle between Senator Mitch McConnell and Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes. With just 2 weeks to go, a new WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll finds the race a near dead heat. WKYT's Bill Bryant is here with the results being released statewide right now.
Good evening. We are in the home stretch before the November 4th election, and now the latest WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll shows a swing back to a slight advantage for Senator Mitch McConnell. Here are the results. The incumbent now leads in the poll with 44%. Grimes is just 1 point back at 43%. Libertarian David Patterson remains a distant third place. Just 2 weeks ago, the poll showed Grimes with a 2-point advantage. The new Bluegrass poll comes after the much talked about and only televised debate of the campaign. McConnell and Grimes went head-to-head last Monday night on KET. She remained steadfast in not revealing whether she voted for President Barack Obama in the last presidential election. He was grilled on Kentucky Connect, Kentucky's health care exchange, and whether 3 decades in Washington is too long. Now McConnell's favorability is up to 38%, his highest number in the past 5 months. But his challenge is a 47% unfavorability rating. Grimes scored 40% in favorability, but 43% polled had an unfavorable opinion of her, the first time in 5 months that she had a negative score. Earlier today, I talked with Herald Leader political writer Sam Youngman about these new results, including the fact that there appears to be no gender gap among voters.
This poll shows Senator McConnell with a 1-point lead among women, which is just, 10 months ago would have been unthinkable considering how much of a central facet of Grimes' campaign strategy reaching women has been.
With the race a near statistical tie, both campaigns are saying voter turnout will be the deciding factor, and both sides are touting programs to help get their voters to the polls. But it appears for most that last-minute campaigning won't be a factor. The Bluegrass poll shows 88% of those surveyed said they have made up their minds. Only 10% said they may change their vote before the election. Survey USA conducted the Bluegrass poll for WKYT, the Herald Leader, and our 2 partners in Louisville. Last week, they surveyed 800 adults. 745 were registered voters. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
For more on this Bluegrass poll, just go to our website, WKYT.com.
Lexington firefighters spent part of their day practicing how they would handle a potential Ebola patient. It came as part of their weekly hazmat training. Firefighters dressed from head to toe in protective gear as part of the simulation. Ebola is not something the battalion chief expects his fire crews to come in contact with, but they don't want to be caught off guard.
Whatever emergency arises in Fayette County, if it's not a criminal matter, the Lexington Fire Department is who's going to take care of it. And we just, better safe than sorry is an old axiom, but we try to live that way.
Chief Best says every time CDC guidelines are updated, they have to do a new training session incorporating those changes.
Well, you will notice a fall chill in the air for much of this week. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell has an early look at the forecast. And Jim, it includes some 30s?
Yeah, quite a few, as a matter of fact, spread out to over several nights here coming up over the next few days. We look outside right now, though, and things are pretty calm for a lot of us, tracking maybe a few showers out in eastern parts of Kentucky. And as the frontal boundary continues to press through, we might get a few more out there, but generally quiet across the entire area. There you see the cloud cover, which has been with us for most of the day. Getting a break from time to time, but you turn around, look in the other direction, you'll see more clouds because there have been plenty of them showing up across Kentucky through the day today. And same thing happening here in Lexington. There you see the showers stretching to our north and some of that energy trying to develop in northeastern parts of Kentucky. Just like what we're seeing outside right now. You see those clouds here in the background there. You see a little bit of clouds. We shift our camera one direction. You don't see anything at all. So it's going to be one of those type evenings for you. Around 61 with a mix of sun and clouds here in Lexington around 7 o'clock. By 9, there could be a stray shower as that energy tries to get going. 56 at that point, and then 53 by 11. Not quite as cool as we were last night. A lot of folks getting into the 40s already by 11 last night. Not that way tonight for you, but we do have more of the chill coming. I'll have the latest coming up in just a few minutes.
In our past investigations into the heroin problem, we've learned the illegal drug has no boundaries. It's an inner city dilemma, an upper class problem, and a big city issue. And as our investigative reporter Miranda Combs shows us, it's also showing up in small towns where they can't break the cycle.
Typically, if a patient's brought in unresponsive, we would put them in one of these trauma rooms.
Christina Buckler is in the middle of her shift, taking a break to show us around.
The patient to this monitor, it monitors their blood pressure, their heart rate, oxygen level, everything we need to know how that patient's doing.
Buckler is the emergency room manager at Harrison Memorial. She's walked these floors for a decade.
4:30. You know, I don't like to leave them hanging.
Her boss has walked them for 4 decades.
We have seen weekly. We have cases weekly now.
It's usually here in the top drawer.
The cases all require the same cure.
They don't realize how close they were to being dead.
Recently, the hospital, which sits in the small town of Cynthiana, has seen a dramatic increase in the number of patients being brought in by ambulance or dropped off at the back door suffering from heroin overdose.
We have had more heroin overdose here than in my memory of any type of drug overdose.
CEO of the hospital and longtime nurse Sheila Curran says it's worse than the prescription drug epidemic. She says because heroin is cheaper and easier to find, but she says it's also easier to overdose.
With heroin, depending on where their source has come from, they don't really know what's been cut into that drug.
There's Narcan available.
A drug that within minutes is meant to reverse the effects of heroin, sending ER patients straight into withdrawal.
If we have someone that's unresponsive, our first thought is to grab the Narcan, administer it as soon as possible.
And it's sad to me that often they leave with, against medical advice because they're so agitated and need that next fix.
And the cycle continues for this rural Kentucky hospital. Many times they say they see the same people come through these doors. They bring them back to life and the process repeats. But they say it's the small percentage they save and want help that helps them cope with the troubling trend.
You know, if you can help the one person and get through to one person and help them make a change, it's worth, everything that we do.
Have you personally? And the Harrison County coroner says he's definitely seen an increase in heroin overdose deaths, but not the kind of increase the hospital is seeing, pointing to the success of that Narcan, guys.
And we talk about Narcan a lot. You've done stories where you've mentioned it before, but it's not a permanent fix, though, right?
Right there at the hospital, they're saying they're lucky to have it. It does save lives, but it's not in any means a permanent fix, and that's what we have to concentrate on.
Sure.
All right, Miranda, thank you.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Lexington city leaders say they have a plan in place when 4 Garth Brooks concerts bring thousands of extra people to downtown.
The country music star has 4 shows at Rupp Arena, 2 October 31st and 2 November 1st. City leaders plan to open an auxiliary parking lot at Old Frankfort Pike and New Circle Road to help people going to the 10:30 shows each night. LexTran will shuttle people from that lot to downtown. City leaders also ask people going to the concerts to carpool if possible. And they say give yourself plenty of time.
With that second show so close to it, we're asking everybody to come downtown early.
We have more information about tickets, parking, and events happening before and after the shows on WKYT.com.